We will all see things differently because of this last week. We will look at our circumstances differently. For many of us, what I'm about to say is very difficult. We will look at that beautiful river differently as well. I once was lost, but now...
Every year in the United States, more than 360,000 children are reported missing. For families of autistic children, the risk is even higher. Studies show they are 160 times more likely to experience drowning than their peers.
Day after day, night after night, you gave of your time, you gave of your energy, you gave of your resources. You devoted your all to William and his family. William's parents asked to have this service for you, the community.
Most of these cases never make headlines. They become statistics buried in annual reports. But the case you're about to hear goes far beyond the numbers. It begins in Millersburg, Pennsylvania, a quiet river town tucked against the banks of the Susquehanna, a place where families gather at the park, ferries cross the wide current, and summer evenings end with children playing under fading light. Here in early September 2025, a family's ordinary week is about to turn into every parent's worst nightmare. On the evening of September 8, 2025, the small town of Millersburg, Pennsylvania is calm. The last glow of sunlight fades over the Susquehanna River, and streetlights flicker on along quiet roads. Families settle in for the night. To most, it's an ordinary Monday, but inside one home on the edge of town, a nightmare is just beginning. 15-year-old William Peters III is missing. He isn't answering calls. He isn't in his room. He isn't anywhere his parents expect him to be. William is described as high-functioning autistic, intelligent, gentle but easily unsettled outside familiar routines. He has favorite paths he walks, safe places he returns to. Tonight, he doesn't return to any of them. The last reported sighting places him near Mayo Road, just a few hundred feet from the dark waters of the river. That detail alone chills those who know the dangers here. At first, his family believes he's only wandered too far, but within minutes, the unease grows unbearable. His mother picks up the phone, mother's voice cracking with panic. My son is missing. We can't find him anywhere. Please help us." On the other end of the line, police dispatchers take down the information, but the words echo in the night. We can't find him anywhere. Soon neighbors step outside with flashlights. Strangers begin walking the streets, calling William's name. The search spreads like wildfire, but so does the fear, because everyone in Millersburg knows the truth. The river takes, and it rarely gives back. And as the hours slip past midnight, that quiet September evening is transformed into something else entirely, a race against time and against the water. By the time midnight passes, the search for William Peters III is no longer a family matter. It has become a community emergency. The Pennsylvania State Police arrive first, cruisers pulling up to Mayo Park, blue lights flashing against the trees. Within an hour, the quiet riverbank transforms into a command post. Helicopters sweep overhead, their searchlights cutting through the night sky like blades of white fire. Boats drift slowly along the Susquehanna, engines low, spotlights skimming the black surface. Canine units pace the muddy shoreline, handlers straining to keep them on track. But it isn't just the professionals. Neighbors show up in pairs, carrying flashlights. Families from across town gather in clusters, whispering prayers, and calling William's name. Strangers who've never met the Peters family line up to help. The sight is overwhelming. Dozens of lights flickering across the fields and woods, a desperate constellation of hope. Each report feels heavier than the last. No signs. No answers, just the steady march of time and the steady rise of fear. Searching this terrain is brutal. The Susquehanna hides what it swallows. The ground is slick, the water deceptive, currents shifting without warning. Every step risks injury. Every hour drains strength, but no one stops. Not the troopers, not the volunteers, not William's parents, who stand at the edge of the river, staring into the darkness as if willing him to come home. And as dawn approaches, a chilling truth begins to sink in. This is not a simple search anymore. It is a race against the river itself. The Susquehanna River is beautiful, but it is unforgiving. Stretching nearly 450 miles, it is known for powerful undercurrents, sudden drop-offs, and waters that can turn deadly without warning. In Millersburg, the river is both a lifeline and a threat. Locals know its history. They know it has claimed lives before. People underestimate that river. You step in, and it looks calm. But the current underneath, it can take you down before you realize what's happening. I remember when a boy drowned here years back. Same spot near the ferry. It's haunted this town ever since. As the search for William drags on, whispers spread quickly. Was this simply another river tragedy? Or could something else have happened? On social media, speculation explodes. Some insist William slipped in accidentally. Others fear abduction, that he may have wandered into the wrong place, met the wrong person. Conspiracy threads emerge, arguing over every unconfirmed detail. Through it all, the family fights to keep the focus on their missing son. They post desperate appeals. Please help us find William. If you see anything, if you know anything, call the police. We just want him home. The pleas ripple across Facebook and local community pages, shared by strangers, amplified by neighbors. Every post, every comment, carries the same haunting undertone. Time is running out. September 9th. The first full day without William. Morning breaks over Millersburg, but the light does little to lift the weight pressing on the town. Every lead sparks hope. Every dead end crushes it. Police respond to calls from nearby roads, alleyways, and backyards. Volunteers chase rumors, a shadow by the ferry, a figure on the railroad tracks. Families whisper to one another that maybe he's hiding, maybe he's scared, maybe he'll walk through the door any moment. Neighbor's voice hurried. I think I saw a boy near the ferry. Could be him. Looked about his height. Patrol units respond. Search teams sweep the area. But within hours, another lead dissolves into nothing. By nightfall, the community refuses to let go. Dozens gather along the riverbank for an impromptu vigil. Candles glow against the dark water, their flames flickering in the wind. Prayer circles form, voices breaking as neighbors plead for William's safe return. Across town, telephone poles are covered in posters. William's photo, wide-eyed, innocent, stares back at strangers passing by. Gas stations, diners, school entrances, his face is everywhere. Yet behind the signs of unity, exhaustion sets in. Officers mark leads off their list one by one. Volunteers return home empty-handed. The river remains silent, and as the second night passes without answers, a single thought weighs heavy on everyone's mind. Time is running out. September 11th, 2025. 3 days have passed since William vanished. 3 days of searching, of praying, of hoping against hope. By now, the official search has thinned. Police continue patrols. Volunteers come and go. But one group refuses to stop. William's own family. That afternoon, they set out again, walking the same paths they've traced a dozen times before. The woods, the open fields, the edge of the river. Each step is heavy, but each step carries the faintest hope that maybe, just maybe, they'll find him alive. And then, near the Millersburg Ferry, the search ends. It isn't officers or helicopters who make the discovery. It's William's parents. A sharp cry pierces the air, his mother's voice, breaking, echoing across the river. It is the sound of recognition, the sound of unbearable truth. Officers rush toward the scene, radios crackling, boots pounding against the dirt. But the family already knows. Their worst fear has been confirmed. After 3 days of searching, the boy's own parents made the discovery. Within minutes, the news spreads. Phones buzz across Millersburg. Texts and calls ripple through schools, churches, and homes. Strangers weep. Friends collapse in shock. The town that had been holding its breath suddenly breaks apart in grief. The search is over, but the heartbreak is only beginning. 2 days after William's body is recovered, the Dauphin County coroner releases the findings. The cause of death is confirmed as accidental freshwater drowning. There are no signs of foul play, no evidence of struggle, no indication that anyone else was involved. But the explanation does not make the outcome easier to bear. Because the Susquehanna River is not just water, it is a force. Its currents can shift without warning. The undertow drags downward, even when the surface looks calm. In deep sections, disorientation sets in within seconds. A swimmer who panics inhales water, lungs fill, and the body is pulled further out of reach. Cold water accelerates the danger. Even in late summer, the Susquehanna's temperature can trigger hypothermia in minutes, slowing movement, stealing breath, numbing the body until escape is impossible. For William, the risks were magnified. Children on the autism spectrum are statistically far more vulnerable near open water. Sensory overload, sudden noises, or a moment of confusion can lead them closer to danger without realizing the threat. And once in trouble, communication and response can be delayed. Precious seconds lost. Drowning is silent. It can happen in less than 60 seconds. You won't hear cries. You won't hear splashing. It just happens. For William, the coroner's ruling was clear, a tragic accident. But for his family, and for a grieving town, the word accident does little to silence the questions that remain. Just days after the coroner's ruling, Millersburg gathers in sorrow. At Mayo Park, hundreds arrive carrying candles. The night air is still, the river quiet, as neighbors, classmates, and strangers line the banks. A soft glow spreads across the water, a vigil for a boy who will never return home. William was quiet, but he was kind. He always noticed when someone was left out. He didn't deserve this. He had so much potential. He loved to learn. We've lost a light in our classroom. This town is small, but we take care of each other. Tonight, we stand with his family. As tears fall, the community finds small ways to help. A GoFundMe campaign is launched to cover funeral expenses. Within days, it surpasses $10,000. Donations pour in with messages of love, prayers and heartbreak from people who never even met William. The vigil grows into a moment of unity. Balloons are released into the night sky, their faint lights drifting upward like tiny prayers. Along the riverbank, handwritten notes and flowers are left, promises that William will not be forgotten. In places like Millersburg, grief is not carried alone. It is shared, carried shoulder to shoulder by a community bound together in loss. Tragedy has a way of breaking hearts, but it also has a way of uniting them. And on this night, under the glow of candlelight, Millersburg becomes one family. The search is over. The vigil has passed. But in Millersburg, the grief does not end, and neither do the questions. Could this tragedy have been prevented? Should the Susquehanna River, a waterway known for sudden drownings, have stronger barriers, warning signs, or staffed patrols? Could faster access to surveillance cameras or river monitors have given rescuers the lead they needed before it was too late? And what lessons are officials in Dauphin County and across Pennsylvania taking from William's death? Are parks and rivers being made safer? Or will this be another statistic, remembered only until the next tragedy strikes? We don't want another parent to go through this. No one should ever have to find their own child. The silence from law enforcement is deafening. State police provide only brief statements. The coroner's ruling is final, but the community isn't satisfied. At prayer circles and town meetings, voices rise together, demanding answers, demanding change. In every tragedy, there is a moment when grief turns into questions, questions that linger in the silence left behind. In Millersburg, those questions echo louder than the river itself. William's story cannot end at the river. It must continue, in city halls, in school board meetings, and at family dinner tables, because his death was not just a loss. It was a warning, a reminder that our rivers are beautiful but dangerous, and that our most vulnerable children need protection long before it is too late. Barrier the water, train the staff, equip the families. William Peters III was only 15, a boy who loved simple routines, who made his classmates feel seen, who was deeply loved by his parents and his community. In just a few short days, his life united an entire town, in searching, in praying, in grieving. His story is more than a headline, it is a call for change. In memory of William Peters III, 2025. Below links appear for water safety resources, missing persons prevention guides, and autism advocacy groups. Until rivers are safe, until every family is prepared, and until no child is left unprotected, this story will never truly end.